You ever feel like you've given everything to someone only for them to just toss it aside like it was never anything important? That's what happened to me. I gave my heart, my time, and my trust to someone who promised me the world. But when it really mattered, I got nothing back. Actually, worse than that, I got nothing at all. And when she left me for him, someone who'd barely even been in the picture, I was crushed. But you know what? That was the moment I realized I wasn't going to be the one left behind anymore. I was done being the second choice, the one who always ended up picking up the pieces of my broken heart. Hi, I'm Jessica, and this is my story. And trust me, what I did next wasn't something I ever thought I would be capable of. But it was something that completely shocked her, and maybe even myself. I met Emma in college. She was everything I wasn't: confident, outgoing, and always the center of attention. I, on the other hand, was the quiet girl who kept to herself. I never thought someone like her would even look my way, but she did. And it wasn't just some passing attraction. We spent a lot of time together, and I thought, this is it. I found my person. I remember the first time she kissed me, how everything seemed so perfect, so right. We were inseparable. But over time, I started noticing changes in her. She wasn't the same fun, carefree person anymore. She became distant, started spending more time at work or with friends, and I couldn't help but feel like I was being pushed to the side. At first, I convinced myself it was nothing. I told myself, maybe she's just busy. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. I just didn't want to admit it. And then one night, it happened. She came home later than usual, smelling like someone else's cologne. I didn't say anything at first. I didn't want to seem paranoid, but the silence between us grew heavier. I tried to talk to her about it. I asked her if everything was okay, but she brushed it off, said I was being dramatic, and I believed her. I trusted her. But then a few weeks later, the truth hit me like a slap in the face. I found a message on her phone. It wasn't one of those innocent conversations, it was from a guy I didn't know. His name was Brian, and the messages between them were, well, they weren't just friendly, they were intimate. I don't know what hurt more, the fact that she'd kept it from me or the fact that I had been so blind. The next day, I confronted her. I couldn't hide my pain anymore. I asked her straight up if she was seeing someone else. And she didn't deny it. She didn't even apologize. Instead, she told me she had developed feelings for someone else, Brian. And then the worst part, she told me she was leaving me for him. I stood there, frozen. The woman I loved, the person I trusted, was telling me she was walking away from everything we'd built for a guy who had barely been a blip on her radar until a few weeks ago. She packed her things. No emotion, no regret, just goodbye. It would have been easy for me to fall apart. And trust me, I wanted to. I cried, I yelled, I blamed myself for everything that went wrong. I spent days thinking about how I could have done better. How maybe if I'd been a little more this or that, she wouldn't have left. But the more I thought about it, the angrier I became. No one deserved to be treated like that. Not me, not anyone. And that's when it hit me. Why am I letting her walk away with my dignity, with my self respect? I decided I wasn't going to be the one left behind anymore. I wasn't going to be the one who waited for an apology or begged for attention. I was going to show her, show myself that I could do better. I didn't need her. I didn't need Brian, and I didn't need anyone to define my worth. I went to the gym, started taking care of myself, really taking care of myself. I cut my hair, changed my wardrobe, and started doing things that made me happy. But I wasn't doing this for anyone else. This was for me. I was rediscovering who I was, the person I had lost when I let her walk all over me. And then the perfect opportunity came. A few months later, I found out that Emma and Brian were hosting a housewarming party. She had invited me, of course, under the pretense of being friends again. But I wasn't about to walk into that situation unprepared. I showed up at that party looking like a completely different person: more confident, more attractive, more unbothered than she could ever have imagined. Everyone noticed the change, especially Emma. She couldn't keep her eyes off me, and as the night went on, I made sure to keep my distance. But I couldn't help but notice how Brian kept looking at me too. She watched. She saw how everyone was reacting to me, how I was the center of attention. It didn't take long for her to pull me aside, her eyes filled with regret. Jessica, she said, her voice low, I made a mistake. I should never have left you. You were always the one who was right for me. But I wasn't interested in hearing it anymore. I wasn't going to let her back in just because she regretted her decision. I smiled at her and said, it's too late for that. I'm not the same person I was before, and I'm never going back to someone who doesn't appreciate me. Let me ask you, have you ever had someone walk out of your life only to realize they made the biggest mistake? How did you deal with it? Tell me in the comments below. I want to hear your story. I walked out of that party feeling like I had won, but not because of what Emma had said. I won because I had taken back my power. I had learned that my worth was never dependent on anyone else, and I could make my own way without needing validation from anyone who had once hurt me. And Emma? Well, she learned that sometimes you don't realize what you have until it's gone. But by then, it was too late for her to come back. Because in the end, I didn't need her to be happy. I had already found happiness within myself.